Ah, yes. Yes, so I've travelled in from Sheffield today. Yeah, I did is it Corneyfell Road? Yeah, that's the way I decided to go. That was the scariest drive of my entire life, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not going to lie. And the first act, Oliver, he was in the car with me. We were on about the fact that the sheep didn't move from the road. They literally didn't move. They looked at me and just went, "The fuck you gonna do?" I tried beeping, I tried scaring them off by winding down the window and doing a Welsh accent. Nothing. Yeah, not even scared of getting fucked, sheep round here. But apparently your dogs are scared of getting fingered. The last night on said that about dogs being like, yeah, shoving your finger up the dog's arse to stop a dog. I'd never heard that before, so I was back there and I googled that, and now I'm on a sex offenders list.
Don't get the sheep and the dog confused.
Yeah, don't get the sheep and the dog confused, mate. Exactly. How would you have that happen? I just want to know which confusion you're getting there.
He's blind.
He's blind.
A guy dog mixed with a guy sheep.
All right, that's a fair mistake to make then. I guess you just have to go on the noise they make when you do it. That's all you're doing. You're the veteran guy, right? You ran from John O'Groats to Land's End, is that right?
Land's End, John O'Groats, yeah.
Yeah, okay, same bit backwards. Or at least he thinks he has. He's not seen the signs, has he? He's probably only done 4 miles, gone around in a circle, and just patted him on the back and said, "Well done." I had a mate of mine. I'm looking around the room, there's probably some of you in. Anybody into cycling? Yeah, fully grown men into cycling. That can't be doing with me. I had a mate of mine, he's married, he's got 3 kids, and every Saturday, Sunday, he's off doing miles and miles on his bike. Do you do a lot of miles on your bike? No,
I like it though.
You like it though? He does this, and then he had the cheek to say to me, "Will you sponsor me? I'm going to cycle John O'Groats to Land's End." Like that. And I went, "No, I won't. Because you want to go cycling, and literally sponsor you and give you money to do a hobby." I says, "You know what? Do something you don't want to do." I tell you, I'll have a whip round right now. In fact, I'll give you 100 quid if you let me and my mates kick you in the bollocks. I said, "I am not sponsoring you to do something you want to do." I said, "I'll tell you what, I'll give you the tenner if you do something you really don't want to do and actually spend a Sunday with your wife and kids. I'll sponsor you to do that." That's what I'm saying. I love your beard, mate. That's a big beard on you, my friend. What's your name? Luke, nice to see you. If you can't see Luke at the back, Luke's like a stocky fella. He's got the muscle, he's got the tattoos, he's got this big, massive, bushy beard. Back in the day, Luke could be somebody you'd be quite scared of, wouldn't he, if you saw him? But all that Luke means now in 2024 is that Luke is probably vegan. That's it. He probably drinks like real ale, Guinness, fair. Yeah, it's weird that I'm vegan as well, Luke. Is there any other vegans in? Gives a cheer. If you're strong enough, did somebody move that? Are you a vegan? I like how you had to raise your arm for you because you couldn't do it yourself. But I am vegan. And before you judge me, I can feel you judging me, I'll tell you why I'm vegan first, because I think you'll feel guilty when you find out the real reason. It's nothing to do with animal cruelty. In fact, I quite like a bit of that, it's fun. Fingering sheep and dogs, whichever. Well, I'll come back to that. But yeah, nothing to do with animal cruelty, nothing to do with like the environment or anything like that, nothing to do with health or diet or that I prefer the taste or anything like that. What it is, I just wanted to know how it'd feel to be really fucking smug. And it's amazing, isn't it? We just look around at people, we tell them we're vegan even if they've not asked. The best part about it as well, it's 2024, so I just identify as being vegan and I still eat meat. It's fantastic. But yeah, I'm not really into animal cruelty, but I tell you this, I did Google the dog fingering thing at the back, and honestly, that is a real fact. If a dog ever attacks you and the dog gets lockjaw, you shove your finger up the arse. For the record, it has to be your own arse or the dog's arse. It's up to you. You can't just think to yourself, I'm getting attacked by a dog, I've had a bad day, how can I cheer myself up and do your own? But yeah, you put a finger up the dog's arse. And when I've read that fact beforehand, I can't believe it's true, but my first thoughts when I've read that was, who the hell figured that out for the first time? Who's getting attacked by the dog for the first time and thinks, I know what to do here? And also, what breed of dog was that? Because there's a very big difference between a little Chihuahua or doing a full-on reach around to an Alsatian. And I don't know if I'd have the confidence to even attempt it. I'm quite a confident guy, but look, I've never been attacked by a dog before. I'm granted, never been attacked by a dog, so I don't know how I'd react. But I guess I have been, attacked verbally in relationships before. And I have never once looked at my girlfriend as she's shouting at me and thought, I think I know how to calm her down. Maybe we should try it, I don't know. We'll have a go, see what happens. But I think to myself, I wouldn't have the confidence to do that. If I'm getting attacked by a dog, just shove your finger. I'm too timid for that. I'd have to stroke it a bit, cuddle it, a bit of foreplay, work up the confidence and then do it. And then I thought to myself, why on earth does this work? What's happening in the dog's psychology that makes this work? What's happening? The dog's looking at you thinking, I hate this guy, I'm going to bite him, he's my enemy. It bites you, you shove your finger up its arse and then straight away it just goes boop. I am so sorry. I thought we were enemies and now you've just showed me that we're more than friends. Does it stop because it likes it? I don't know. And also, after the dog attack stops after you've done it, is that the end of it? Does it just walk away? Because if I'm angry with somebody and I want to fight them, I'm going to fight you, sir, you turn me around, shove a finger up my arse, I'm going to still want to fight you after that. And now you're going to have a shitty finger and it walks away and nobody wants that with a dog attack. I thought about this a little bit too much after the ball. What about this one? What happens if the reason the dog lets go is because the dog likes it? Right? So that's why the dog lets go. What happens if that's the reason? So it's your own dog in your own house that attacks you, that fact comes into your head, you shove your finger up the dog's arse, and it's because it likes it, because then from a dog psychology point of view, you've just created the world's worst reward system. You're going to get bitten every day, and the only way to stop your own dog biting is to shove your finger up the dog's arse. It's a night. What happens if you... Right. What happens if you're home alone? This is the last point, I promise. You're home alone, your dog attacks you, it's attacking you, you think on your feet, shove your finger up the dog's arse, it stops attacking you, and that's when your wife walks in. Because it's not attacking you anymore, is it? It's calm. So your wife walks in and you're like, I swear to God, this is not what it looks like. Which ultimately leads me to believe that that's probably how that fact was invented in the first place, wasn't it? Yeah, thank you. But I went to some weird jobs as a fireman, and I'll tell you this, I went to one job, this one blew my mind, a guy with his cock and balls trapped in a train wheel bearing. Yeah, I know, right. What do you do for a living, sir?
Salesman.
Salesman, what do you sell?
Cleaning machine.
Cleaning machines. Are they any good?
Perfect.
You've nailed that job there, mate. That was fantastic. The charisma you sold that, I feel like I want to buy a cleaning machine right now. But I bet we've seen different things in our line of work, for example. So have you ever seen a guy with his cock and balls trapped in a train wheel bearing? It's 1-0 to me then. I saw this, so cock and balls trapped in a train wheel bearing, and I can see your face as you're looking horrified, thinking, it's painful, but I will tell you, it wasn't attached to the train, right? It was a guy, lovely, middle-aged Asian fella, worked in a little workshop on his own, and a train wheel bearing, if you've never seen it, it's a piece of metal about that sort of size. It's got a hole in the centre about that sort of size. And this guy had been working alone in his workshop, and he'd seen that, and he thought to himself, I've got a lunch break coming up in 2 minutes. And he'd had a go, cock and balls in that, and he'd obviously enjoyed it more than he thought he would, because that bearing got tighter, and he got stuck, and at some point he's had to phone 999. And I imagine that weren't quick. He will have sweated over that decision, and what I'm pretty sure he didn't just go, whoops, they're stuck, 999. And if you've ever had to phone 999, it's not a nice experience. You get an operator on the phone, and she would have gone, 999, what's your emergency? Which emergency service do you require? And he'd have gone, I've got my cock and balls trapped in a train wheel bearing. I've got no idea who I want, so send everybody. And we did. We got the fire service, ambulance, police, paramedics came. And if you don't know this, in the fire station, it comes through the job. A little printer system prints out the job. There's stop codes on it that tell you what the incident is. So a 991 is a house fire. A 992 is a car crash. They didn't have a code for that one. I shit you not, it came through to our station as a ring removal. I tipped up with a little tin opener like I'm going to take a wedding ring off a fat guy's hand. We tipped up, I walked in, there's this guy, he's sitting on a little desk like this, he's looking very sheepish. He's laid across his lap what can only be described as a dignity blanket. He's made it out of an old curtain. And I walk in, I'm like, are we removing a wedding ring? What's happened? He says, no, it's not a wedding ring. And then he just lifts up this blanket, and I see his cock and balls trapped in this train wheel bearing. And I can see your horrified faces, like you lot are thinking, why? Like, why would anybody ever do that? And that was not my first thoughts at all. My first thoughts when I saw him was, thank God I don't work in a workshop, because that would have been me. I'd have had a go, there's only so long you can have something lying around as a man before you try and stick your dick in it. Is that not right? That's why I'm also no longer allowed a cat from the RSPCA. I've got that in writing. But at this point, this guy, in this story, I was the recruit at the time. I had to apply washing up liquid to this guy's cock and balls to lubricate this bearing to try and get it off. You may wonder why that fell to me. As I say, I was the recruit, so I volunteered for it. Because I'd just been on the cock and balls lubrication diploma course. So I was keen to put all my training into action. So I was there, my sergeant is washing up liquid into his cock and balls whilst maintaining a comforting, non-flinching eye contact. Whispering in his ear that everything's going to be okay. Connoisseurs amongst us will notice the little twist I've put on the end. I've learnt that on the course. Now, I'm pleased to tell you at this point, ladies and gentlemen, that this story, it does have a happy ending. Just not for me so much. What happened is the bearing came off in my hand as he did. And this guy, he was just so relieved. He was so happy, relieved, and he just wrapped his arms around me, this lovely middle-aged Asian fella. He wrapped his arms around me and he said, thank you so much, you're my hero, thank you. And I knew in my heart at that moment that some of that COVID applause on a Thursday night was for me. He says, thank you so much, you've saved me, you're my hero. And it was a really beautiful moment, still pretty awkward, because I still had hold of his cock and balls like that, to stop the swelling going down. And then it got really tense because he gave me a kiss on the cheek because he was so grateful. Then my own white guilt started, I got in my own head and I started thinking, oh gosh, he's from a different culture than me, he's just done something culturally significant that's very kind to me. He's had a bad day already, I don't want to upset him by not doing something back, he's going to think he's going to be offended. So I thought, quick, kiss him back, quick, kiss him back. So I went to kiss him back on his cheek. He'd already turned away, and then he turned back and our lips met, and I kissed him right on the lips while having hold of his cock and balls. And we've been together 4 years in December. It's a fantastic, lovely story. Thank you. Thank you. I spent a lot of time out there. Actually, I had a girlfriend from Thailand before. Yeah, great. And would you agree with this, sir? I think people should date people from other races and from different countries because you learn things about yourself. So have you learned anything about yourself?
Yeah, absolutely.
100%. I learned that for me, having a Thai girlfriend, I learned that apparently I've been wiping my arse wrong my entire life. Yeah, I'll tell you what happened. So this is how I wipe my arse, right? So what I do, I'm going to describe this for you, mate. I use my left hand to lift up my cock and balls, and I use my right hand and I go in from the front, and that's how I wipe my arse. Right, I can see some horrified faces judging it. I was raised feral. Nobody taught me how to wipe my arse. I learned my own way around down there, and that's how I wiped it. But my Thai girlfriend, when I lived with her, she walked into the bathroom I was in while I was doing this, and she looked horrified, and she went, "What the hell are you doing?" Because apparently she's got a Yorkshire accent as well. So, "What are you doing?" And I said, "What?" She went, "You're wiping your arse wrong." So I says, "Well, how do you wipe yours?" And she says that what she does is she goes in from the back, and that way she doesn't have to lift her cock and balls up. Thank you, all that way, brilliant, thank you. Oh, God. Wow, I know. But I have dated lots of different races. My most recent ex-girlfriend, she was black. She still is, don't know why I said that. People change though, don't they? That's the point. So I remember the first kid was born, and my wife got rushed into the hospital. She gets put on this like slab thing. I don't know what it's called. I didn't listen to pregnancy classes, I'll tell you that much. The midwife, she comes straight in, doesn't even introduce herself, she's straight down the business end, rummaging. That might not be the medical term for it, but that's exactly what's going on. She's having a good old rummage. I'm up here holding my wife's hand, and it was a really, really awkward and tense moment, and I thought, what a great time for a joke. So all I said was, well, this is the closest I've ever been to a threesome. Yeah. And labour lasted a long time. The first labour, 18 hours, ladies and gentlemen, that labour lasted. And honestly, I take my hat off to us men, because it's boring for us. No, it is. You ladies, you've got like pain and that to keep you occupied. What have we got? Nothing. But yeah, it was a long labour, and the hardest labour for us though, we had a home birth with my son Tommy. We had a home birth, and that was hard. Anybody had a home birth in here? Not in here. That'd be weird. No, because you want medical professionals. We had this home birth, and it just happened all so fast. She got into trouble quick in the labour. I needed to phone an ambulance straight away, so I phoned 999. I got an operator on the line who wanted to ask me a series of questions that I didn't want to answer. It was super annoying, so straight away the operator says, 999, what's your emergency? Which emergency service do you require? So I went, I need an ambulance, my wife's in labour, send an ambulance. Then the questions, she goes, could you please tell us your wife's date of birth? I was like, no time for a pop quiz. Do you know what I mean? It's September 2nd, and my wife's there going, I'm in labour and you don't even remember my birthday. I'm like, for fuck's sake, look at the trouble you've got me into now. Why don't you go for a home run and ask us when his anniversary is, because I don't know that either. The questions started to get weird. It's like, if you've ever phoned anybody for the NHS and a child's involved, they need to rule out meningitis. The questions got so weird. She says, has your wife developed a purple raised rash on her body that doesn't disappear when you press a glass against it? I was like, she's angry enough as it is, you want me to go and get a glass? I said, I'll tell you what I'm looking at, because I need an ambulance now. I said, I'll tell you what I'm looking at. Right now, I'm looking at my wife bent over on all fours on my daughter's bed, because that's got a mattress protector on it. And she's in pain, and I'm looking at her vagina. and there would appear to be a head in there that wasn't there this morning. And before you ask, no, I've tried it, it doesn't disappear when I press a glass against it. Send me an ambulance. So we got an ambulance, thank God, God bless the NHS, we got an ambulance. Everyone came, it was great, we got a midwife, and I'm delivering my son at this moment. The midwife comes in and she checks my wife's cervix and she goes, okay. She goes, you're 9 centimetres diluted now. Right, I don't know what that meant either, like she's a bottle of Robinson's squash. 9 centimetres. She goes, you're 9 centimetres diluted. She goes, I can just feel the baby's head. And then she goes, come on Dad, why don't you have a feel? Now call me old-fashioned. I don't think the midwife's dad should be allowed in.